Okay, good morning and good evening to everyone. As part of today's uh, class or session, we are going to discuss about license determination process. So, if we go back to the basics, if we think about basics of international trade process, or even in terms of SAP GTS compliance management as well. So far what we did, there are couple of items what we have discussed. As part of compliance management, we have discussed about embargo screening, SPL screening, and product classification. So that means when you are dealing with an export or import, as part of your export or import, as you know that there are many rules or there are many regulations or controls. There are many rules or controls that we have to fulfill. As an exporter, as an importer, we have to fulfill. So what kind of rules? So the very basic rule what we have to fulfill is, as part of your international trade process, we have to make sure that our partner country, we have to make sure that our partner country does not belongs to blocked country. So which can be handled, which can be, that requirement can be which can be handled by SAP GTS embargo screening. So in the similar way, when you are doing an export or import, there is another rule or another trade regulation is that you cannot deal with the people, you cannot deal with the members that are part of denied party list, or those are part of restricted party list or sanctioned party list, like kind of like blocked list. So you, as part of export or import, you need to make sure that your partner details, your business partner name and address details should not match with SPL list or restricted party list or denied party list or watch party list. So for that, what SAP did, SAP has given, or SAP has provided, or SAP has developed a concept of sanction party list screening. So that also we have completed. And in addition to this, there is one more regulation. Like when you are doing an export or import, you have to make sure that your products, you have to make sure that the products that are being involved, the products that are being imported or exported should be classified with respect to codes, control codes. Classified your products, the products which are being participated in the international trade should be classified with control codes or standardized codes, like classifying the products with ECCN or ICCN codes for licensing purpose, or classifying the products with HTS codes or commodity code or Schedule B numbers as part of our import declarations or import or export declaration process. So that can be handled by our SAP GTS product classification functionality. And the topic what we are going to discuss today is, so there is another requirement, there is another regulation, trade regulation in international trade, that is assignment of licenses, assignment of or determination or assignment of licenses to the products in the transaction. So that means when you are exporting or when you are importing, we have a requirement that each and every product is being participated should be assigned with proper license, assigned with proper license if it is a control required product. So if the product is control required, if the product is control product, the product which you are exporting or importing is a control required product, then what happens? You are supposed to assign, or you have a requirement to assign classification code. You need to assign a classification code to the product if the product is required the control. On the top of it, what you have to do? You have to assign the licenses as well. So I repeat it. So if a product is control product, then there is a need to assign license to the product that is being participated in the import or export. So when it comes to the assignment of licenses to the products, when it comes to the assignment of licenses to the product, do you think is it feasible to assign the licenses manually to each and every product? So let us say you are dealing with like hundreds of transactions a day, and each transaction is consists of like multiple products in each transaction. So is it really feasible to assign the licenses manually? No, right? Correct. It's not feasible. On the top of it, it is also like very, very time consuming, very time consuming. And in addition to that, it also like causes a lot of manual errors. So due to this reason, in order to support your license assignment process, or in order to support your license determination process for each and every export transaction or import transaction, what SAP GTS did, SAP GTS has introduced a concept of license determination procedure or license determination process. So to support the license requirements, to support the license international trade license requirements or license assignment requirements, SAP GTS has introduced license determination process. So what are the benefits? If you use SAP GTS license determination procedure, if you use SAP GTS license determination procedure, what happens? You do not need to perform any manual assignment. So which means provided you completed all the configurations required, provided you completed all the config requirement for the license determination, and also provided you maintain all the license determination strategies along with license records, So based on certain parameters, if you maintain configuration, master data, strategies and all in the background, what is going to happen? SAP GTS system can automatically determine license for a product in the transaction. So it has such a mechanism in the license determination procedure that helps to assign license to the product in the each and every transaction. And also, if any reason, if there is no license record is available in the system, which means if the system is not able to assign, or a system is not able to find a valid license record in the system, what it can do, it can block the transaction as well. So first of all, in the first step, it will try to determine a valid license from the system. If it is available, it will assign that license number or license record to the product in the transaction, which is item level of transaction. Whereas if system is not able to find the license record or license number for the product in the transaction, then it can also block the transaction in the GTS, and the same block can be transferred back to the feeder system, and subsequent process will be blocked. So whenever the GTS system block the custom transaction for the license, missing the license, or not able to find the license, it will block the GTS transaction, and then it will send the transfer block to the S4 system and block the corresponding transaction, and that will stop the subsequent process or subsequent shipment activities. So this is the basic domain process. I mean, the basic process that happens, that the basic process flow that is available with respect to the GTS license determination. So let me share our Excel sheet, and then we will continue to discuss on the process flow, how it happens uh, in detail way. And once we are done with the process flow, and then we will move on to the what configuration steps and what master data steps are required. And after that, what as part of master data for license determination, it is not just license record. There are other elements. I mean, there are other elements what we have to know, like something called LDS. The simple term or abbreviation. I mean, the short form of license determination is LDS, which consists of multiple combination of strategies, or multiple uh, parameters that determines a license for a product in the transaction. So that those parameters, the key combinations of the key parameters will be maintained under the license determination strategy. So basically, with the help of the configuration and also the license determination strategy, what we maintain in the master data level or the area menu level, and in addition to that, system also take into consideration of the license records that are defined for the license types. So based on all these three elements, the GTA system can automatically determine the license for a product. If it is not available, it will block the transaction. In between, the system can also block the transaction if the product classification is missing. So that means, so in order to determine the license, what it needs the product should be classified with a code. So if the product itself is not classified with the code, if the product itself is not classified the code, then what it means, it cannot define license record at all. So that's the reason the system can block the license control. I mean, basically, the license determination process is also called as legal control import or legal control export. The license determination procedure or the license determination process is also called as legal control import or legal control export. Why? Because as part of legal control import or export, it not only checks for the license, even before checking for the license, it will look for whether the product is classified or not. If the product is not classified, then by default it apply the block to the transaction, because without classification it is not feasible. It's not a good idea for the system to determine the license as well. So if the product itself is not classified, it will apply the block to the transaction. Then what you can do, you can let me open the in our Excel sheet. I'll explain in the whole process one more time. Okay.
Are you sharing or no?
I just stop the sharing. Okay, I'm going to share.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So let me repeat or explain one more time how the license determination process flow happens. So whenever you create a transaction in our feeder system, that is ECC or S4HANA, what happens is it could be like a sales order or outbound delivery or purchase order or inbound delivery. So what happens when you create a sales order in SAP S4HANA or your feeder system? So that will transport to the GTS, and what happens? The GTS system will create custom document for the sales order. So you can say like this: custom document for the sales order or custom document at the sales order level. Custom document will be created in the GTS, and then system also determines system also determines the corresponding products. So whatever the products are available in our feeder system transaction, the similar way products will be determined. Now, what happens? So now the requirement is the system should determine license for the product in the custom document automatically. So how does it happen? What are the prerequisites? What are the prerequisites that system consider as a help to determine the license? So basically, first of all, first of all, we need to we need to have the required configuration setup. So in the background, in order to help the system to determine the license, to assign the license to the product in the transaction, what we have to do? We have to complete configuration steps in which license type configuration is the key element. So there are multiple configuration steps. There are multiple configuration steps for the license determination in which license type is one of the key element. License configuration of the license type is one of the key configuration or key element. So after that, once you define the configuration, once you complete the configuration setup, okay, there is what we have to do. We have to maintain license records. We have to maintain license records. So you already configured the license type, and using the license type name, like it is like this. For example, in SAP ECC or
Wait,
S4HANA.
sorry to disturb. Can you explain what exactly is license type is called?
So basically, the license type tells what kind of license it is, whether it is private license or individual license or combined license. It's kind of type of license. In international trade, there could be different type of licenses, right? So that's what it is. So if it is a individual license as part of your business requires an individual license, you can configure it as a IVL and you give the description as individual license. So if you are creating a license as a combined license, you configure as CVL. It's just license type.
Okay, so it depends based on the country, or it's like common for in general
No,
for
no,
each for
it's
each
based on your business, nature of the
business.
business, nature
Okay,
of the business.
okay,
Okay.
thank you.
No problem. So once you configure the license, using that license type, what we do, we maintain license records. The way how we maintain price condition records using the condition type in S4HANA or ECC in the similar way, using this, I am just explaining very high level process flow, but we will discuss very detail further, like today and tomorrow as well. Okay. Very high level, I am trying to explain how the license determination process flow works and what elements will determine the license type. So once we are done with this, I'll go back to the configuration and I'll also explain the master data as well. So once we configure the license type, we maintain the license condition records. And after that, what happens? So you have created multiple license records. You have created multiple license records in the system. But how does the system knows? How does the system knows what license record is supposed to be assigned to the what product, right? So you need to give some input. You need to help the system by defining a criteria, so that system will identify the correct license. So the criteria what we are defining, the base, the help what we are giving to the system to determine the license automatically for a product in the transaction called license determination strategy. So basically, license determination strategy is the key input for the system to determine license for a product. So what it contains? Basically, the license determination strategy contains different key combinations, different key combinations, different key combinations which which helps the system to find out, which helps the system to locate the correct license or to find out the correct license. That means what happens as part of the license determination strategy, we do like this. So the combination one, the strategy one, I can say the strategy one. So what is the strategy one? I'll give the input like this. If my legal regulation is LE, if my legal regulation is LE, and my destination country is DE, if my legal regulation is LE, if my custom document falls under the legal regulation LE, and the destination country is DE, and my product in the transaction, if my product in the custom document, if my product in the custom document is classified with code called 7A001, 7A001, then I'm telling the system, the license determination strategy telling the system, look for look for license record of license type IVL. And then one more combination. So here I am telling there is one more strategy. So like this, I can define hundreds of strategies or hundreds of key elements, hundreds of key combinations. I can say if my departure country of the transaction, if my departure country of custom transaction is US, if my destination country of custom transaction is Canada, and if my custom transaction product, if my custom document product or custom transaction product classification code, if a custom product in the transaction is classified with the code 4C001, then the license determination strategy telling look for the license record of license type CVL. And one more thing, if my departure country is US, destination country is Mexico, if my departure country of transaction is custom document is US, and destination country of custom transaction is Mexico, and the product in the custom document is assigned with the classification code 6B999, then the license determination strategy is telling look for the license type of IVL. So like this, I can define n number of license determination strategies in the GTS cockpit, so that whenever I create a transaction, very first moment it will go to the license determination strategy and look for what are the what are the combinations that are defined for the legal regulation of this. This is defined at the legal regulation. We define license determinations strategies. We define license determination strategies at the legal regulation level. Because of that, whenever a custom document is created, based on the custom document legal regulation, it will go and look for license determination strategy. And based on the strategy, it will look for what is the license type it is supposed to be check. And once it find the license type, and look for is there any license record available for this license type or not. If the license record is available, then it will assign that license number to the custom document item level of the product, and it create a tab called legal control data. If no license, you cannot see that legal control data tab. If no license is assigned to the custom document at the sales order, custom document at the delivery level, you cannot see the tab itself called legal control tab. If the legal control tab only appears in the custom document, order level, delivery level, purchase order, inbound level, if the license is assigned, otherwise you do not see that legal control tab. So that like that it assigns the record. And if in case after finding the license type, if there is no valid license record for that license, if there is no valid license record for the license type, then what happens? System block the transaction, that custom document, and send the block to the S4 system as well. So this is another very high level process flow that happens as part of the license determination strategy. Before I move on to the configuration, if you have any questions, then we can discuss for a few minutes.
Yeah, Venkat. So my question is, how come you have two different strategies for IVL? If you look at row K4, where you got LE and then destination country and then the classification code. But then if you go down under custom document 9, you have origin country, destination country, and product code. Why are they? But both
Okay.
are referring
Let
to
me put this
IVL.
way. This key combination is not fixed to these three elements. This
Okay.
the combination, the parameters that are being used in the license determination are not restricted to only three. It could be, let me write here. The key parameters could be, you can use legal regulation
Mhm.
as one parameter,
Okay.
and then destination and classification code.
Then country of
Classification,
origin and country of destination.
country of the origin, country of destination, okay?
Right.
Country of origin or country of destination, or even like product based on the product, or product group, or control, like you can say that there is something called control code. Like this, you can use many parameters. I'll show you in the system. Okay, let me
Okay.
show you right away.
So that IVL, CVL is a common to
Venkat, when you
all
say
countries.
country of origin, is it a customer? I mean, is a sales organization country or the plant country?
Wait. Let me finish this. I will go back. So like this, you can select multiple. You see, these are all the elements that are available.
Okay.
So whatever you specify here, if you specify here in the configuration, for example, this one, what happens when you maintain the license determination strategy, system will ask you to maintain the strategy at this key combination level. It will ask you country group, okay, the departure country group, destination country group, control class, and control group. All these four parameters you can maintain and specify the license type. If you just specify this, it only ask you maintain the country, and legal regulation is by default. Legal regulations by default is available, and if you specify that control class, it will ask you maintain the legal regulation and then classification code and then license type. Like it's not the two or three, whatever the strategies are available here, at those strategies level you can maintain the license determination strategy.
When you say control class, you're talking about the control code only.
Kind of. Let me show you that. You mean control? Okay. Control class means yes, that's classification code. Control
What do you
class
call
means
that? ECCN or ICCN?
ECCN or ICCN, correct?
Okay, because I got confused because we are so used to calling it control code and okay.
Okay. So now if I go back to our Excel, okay, like this, you can use many parameters. Okay. Okay. I think someone is asking a question.
No, I'm saying a country of origin means like the sales organization country or the plant where we are shipping from is that is that country which country is that
What is your question?
I mean, you're saying the country of origin, right? I mean, is that the company code of
Not
the
the
sales
country of origin.
organization?
Departure country or destination country.
Yeah, departure country is the
One
the
second.
company code of the sales order, right? I mean, not the plant of the plant where we are shipping from.
1 second. I don't think we have any country of origin here, but let me make sure.
I have my doubts. I don't think there's country of origin here.
Like that's my typo actually is of Sai.
Okay.
No, it's either country of departure country or destination country.
Okay. Departure country. I mean, are we talking about the company code of the sales order, right? Which in the ECC HANA.
Yes, Sai. Like basically, when I say departure country, what is your departure? How do you know that your departure country transaction in the GTS?
Based on the sales organization or the company code.
No, right? No, I think you didn't follow. So basically,
Customer.
I'll explain in as part of license information one more time, but I already explained. Let me put this way. So in S4, how do you know that your departure country? Based on your plant.
Plant.
And what is the plant associated organization unit in the GTS? Legal
Unit.
unit.
Yeah.
That's it. Based on your legal unit, system will determine your departure country of the transaction.
Okay.
Okay?
So indirectly, it is referring to the plant of the feeding
Correct,
system.
correct. Because we are mapping, right? We are mapping.
Right, right.
Correct.
So step number one for this license control is when we create the part itself, in the feeder system, there is one way. We can either classify it there or we can classify it in GTS system.
What classification? We don't use the.
No,
If you
ECC and ICCN in this case.
no, we don't use S4 for the ECC and ICCN classification. If the
Okay.
GT, if the GTA system is being used, no client is using like S4 as a classification, S4 system for
Okay.
the classification process.
So, okay. So we create the part, push it to the GTS system. We classify it there. And each time you create a sales order or a purchase order with that particular part, um, because the part numbers are the same, the classification is checked on the GTS system, on the custom document, right?
Yes, basically these parameters. Okay, there. First of all, you have to configure the license. Basically, license determination is the key element. So
Mhm.
based on that, it will look what is the license type. It is supposed to be find. Once it find the license type based on the license determination strategy, it will check whether the license record available, any valid license record available for the license type. If it is available, it will assign that license number to the custom product in the transaction, like item level of the custom transaction. Okay.
One other question I have in when we are doing the item category for the part in the feeder system, is there any special config you have to do for a part for which a license is required?
No,
I
no.
don't know.
Item category is not playing any role to determine the license.
Okay.
But the thing is, um, we define as part of license determination process. So generally what happens, what are the different kind of licenses? The license could be, I mean, from the type of license or level, it could be quantity based license, or what is the basis for the license? Generally, when you are export and import, licenses can be quantity based or value based, correct?
Yeah.
So in general, when you let us say like you have a license record with the quantity of 50,000, okay, and you
Okay.
create couple of transactions today, and you already utilized like 10,000 quantity for today's transactions or for this week transactions, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and you are going to create one more transaction. I don't know, let me put in a very simple way. So you have 50,000 quantity license record, and you create first transaction with 500, okay, and when you create a second transaction, so what is the license remaining quantity?
It will be depreciated by 500.
500, like 49,500. And like this, when you keep creating the transactions, your license record will be reduced, right? Your license record will be reduced. So now the point is, so this license determination can happen at two places. sales order and the delivery, right? License can be assigned to the delivery or the sales order. So the question is, if you, is it really good practice? Is it really required to consume the license from the based on the sales order quantity and the delivery quantity, or like either one? Because the sales order and delivery are the same cycle, right? In the sense, the same transaction, the linked transactions. You cannot consume the both sales order quantity and delivery quantity for the license record. You agree?
Yeah.
So that way, there is something called depreciation quantities, what you define, and also where you need to tell how the quantity should be depreciated. How the quantity should be depreciated. So what is the basis for the system to depreciate the quantity? So that what we define in the item category. Other than that, the item category is just dummy for the SPL screening. Item category is just dummy for the product classification or even for the embargo screening. Only for the license determination, in order to help the system, the way how it should be depreciate the quantity, we define the item categories in the GTS system. Other than that, GTS system like item category is not having any importance. Clear?
Yeah, it's clear. Yeah.
Okay. So now let me go to the system and then discuss about the configuration. Okay. Now you tell me what are the three basic common configurations for all application areas. Assign, determination procedure to determine the active legal regulations. So what is this procedure? Can anyone take the charge and explain? What is this procedure, where we define it, and why do we need to assign it here? What it contains? Okay. So basically, every time system performs the screening, each and every time system performs the screening for every application area, so each and every time system performs the screening for each and every transaction, in order to perform a screening at each application area, system need to confirm what level of legal regulation controls, what level of legal regulation screening controls, it has to take into consideration. Why? Because we activate legal regulations, one legal regulation at the country level, another legal regulation to the country group level, another legal regulation to the country to country combination. So we activate different legal regulation to the different levels. So due to that, when system trying to perform the screening, it may come across, when system trying to perform the screening for a custom document, it can come across multiple legal regulations, which is not really required. So that is the reason for each and every application area, you have an option to tell what level of legal regulation it has to take into consideration and then take the control settings for screening purpose. So for that reason, what we are doing, we are defining a procedure, determination procedure in the general settings under the legal regulation configuration. In the general settings legal regulation configuration, we are defining a procedure where we assign the strategy. We are defining a procedure. We are assigning the strategy, like determine the legal regulation of that is assigned to the country of transaction. Country of transaction, or determine the legal regulation that is assigned to the destination country of the transaction. Like that, what we are doing, we are configuring the determination procedures in the general settings and assigning the strategy. And then we bring back that procedure and assign it to the application area wherever it is required. For legal control, so whatever the strategy, whatever the procedure you configure there, you can configure there and you can assign it here. But the strategy was also available inside. Let me show you. I think I know it's a couple of days, right? We discussed. If I go to SPRO, compliance management, sorry, general settings, right? General settings, legal regulation. So here we are defining the determination procedure. So what it has? It has the strategy. Every determination procedure it could be having. So you can define a determination procedure for the legal control and assign the strategy. So what you can say? So determine the for legal control screening, for the legal control screening for the custom document, you can tell determine the legal regulation that is activated or assigned to the country of the transaction. You are assigning the strategy. And then you take it and go back to your here if you need it. Whereas if you need to determine the legal regulation for the license determination screening or legal control screening, based on the legal regulation that is assigned to the country, then what strategy you need to assign? You have to assign it. So your business will tell you, so what is the level of legal regulation control settings system has to take into consideration. And based on that, you define the procedure and assign the strategy. And finally, you utilize or assign this procedure to your individual application area level configuration. So that is what it is. Basically, the procedure what you assign here helps to determine what level of legal regulation it has to take into consideration. And then whatever the control settings defined at the legal regulation, those control settings will be applicable as part of the screening process. Clear? Everybody clear this? I know that we have discussed many times, but just wanted to make sure, since it is a couple of weeks back, we had a discussion on it. Clear?
So Venkat, the first step, what we are doing, we are defining the procedure and assign the strategy, right? That is a step one in a general. And then we go back and then procedure assigned with the respective strategy.
Application area, right?
Application area. Okay.
We bring that and application area.
Okay. And what is the third one? With
that's it, right? First we define the determination procedure and assign the strategy.
Right.
And use it wherever it is required. Wherever the procedure is required. Wherever the procedure it is required for SPL screening or embargo screening, whichever the procedure is required for
the application area. You mean
application
area. Okay.
So everybody clear? By this time, I expect everyone should understand this, like this concept. If you want, I can explain one more time, please. Because it's almost like we are about to complete compliance management, right?
Yeah, please explain.
Okay. Basically, whenever you are doing like embargo screening or SPL screening or any individual application area screening, that means I'll go back to one more step. So whenever you create a transaction S4, it transferred to the GTS, Raghu, or everyone, GTS, and then corresponding custom document is created. Now let us say system performing the SPL screening. When the system performing the SPL screening, there are different control settings available for SPL screening process. You agree with me? When you go to the configuration of SPL screening, there are different control settings, right? like what is the exactness, or what is the percentage rate of votes, or what is the number of packages, or what is the screening pattern, or what is the symmetric search. Like this, we have number of controls, different control settings, right? So when you have different control settings, you may need those control settings. Different countries or different transactions may need different control settings. You agree with me? It is not that all our whole company follow the same control settings, right? For one country level or one export transaction, you want it to follow one way. Another way you want to weigh different control settings. You want to use different percentage, different exactness, like this, right? You agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay. For that reason, what SAP given? SAP given a concept of defining the control settings at what level in SAP GTS? Legal regulation level. When you are configuring the individual application area, we have an option to define control settings at the legal regulation level. That means different legal regulations can have different control settings for the SPL screening process. You agree with me? Hello?
Yes, yes, yeah.
And then what we are doing, we are activating even before that, we are assigning the legal regulations to the countries, right? In the general settings, we are assigning the legal regulations to the countries, activating the legal regulation to the countries. So now the point is, when you are activating, sometimes one legal regulation is activated to a country specific, another legal regulation is activated to country combination, another legal regulation is activated to country, or country group to country. Like this, we are activating legal regulations to the different levels. So by taking into this scenario, when the system trying to perform, sometimes if a country is part of country group, if US is part of a country group NAFTA, if US is part of country group part of USMCA, and if there are two legal regulations, one is defined at the US country level, one legal regulation is activated to the country US, and another legal regulation activated to the country group USMCA. When the system performing the screening, how many legal regulations it can come across? If you don't give any strategy, if you don't give any input to the system, how many legal regulations can it come across as part of screening?
Two.
Two. But we may not need two, right? We may not need two. So to tell the system to handle this kind of situations, to tell the system whether the system need to consider the legal regulation that is assigned to the country level, or the legal regulation that is assigned to the country group, to tell the system we are defining the procedure and giving the strategy and bringing back that procedure assigning to the individual application area, so that whenever the system performing screening, whatever the strategy it has in the individual application area determination procedure, that look at that strategy. If it says determine the legal regulation to the country level, then whatever the legal regulation activated to the country, get that, and those control settings will take into picturation and perform the screening. You understood now? Why and what we are doing, how, why and
Kind of access sequence, right, Venkat? Like the
oh,
search
that okay.
like
Sequence is like this. When the custom document is created, I think I already explained. Let me explain. When the custom document is created, first the first moment it will look for what is the determination procedure assigned to the application area. If it is performing embargo screening, it will look for what is the determination procedure assigned to that application area, and then get that procedure here. It comes to the configuration. Let me put in Excel. I think somewhere in the SPL screening, right? I already shared. I'll explain one more. Step 1, check the determination procedure that is assigned to that individual application area. Application area. Okay, first one. And once step 2, once it gets the determination procedure, then go back to general settings, legal, regulation, config, and look for strategy that is assigned to above procedure, right? Whatever the procedure it is having, it look for the strategy that is assigned to the procedure, the strategy that is available to the procedure that is assigned in the application area level. Are you clear with these 2 steps? First,
Yes.
it will find the determination procedure, and then to check the strategy, it will go back to the legal regulation, configuration, the general settings, and look for the strategy. Is that correct?
Okay, 1 minute. First, as soon as the
Okay.
custom,
Determination. Let
yeah.
me go back to SAP. The determination procedure that is assigned to the application area. So what is there here? LEEMB is the determination procedure. And then it go back to the general settings, legal regulations, and check what is the strategy available. What is the strategy available under this procedure? This is the procedure what we assigned in the embargo, right? You look for the strategy. So what is the strategy? It is what we are telling here. We are telling when the system performing the embargo screening, consider the legal regulation that is assigned to the country level. Understand? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So now the step 3. So in the step 3, based on the 2 steps, it comes to the conclusion. It comes to the conclusion that what level of legal regulation it has to consider to perform screening process, right? And then let us say it says country level. Let us say so it understood that strategy is country level. Then what happens in the 4th step? It look for in the 4th step. It look for what is the it looks for in the 4th step. It looks for what is the country, departure country of custom document, right? Departure country of custom document. Okay. So let us say it come to the conclusion the departure country is US. And then what happens? Then in the 5th step, it goes back to again general settings, or even here the activation of legal regulation also here, right? In the individual application area also we have this, right? It goes back to activate legal regulations. Where is it? Not here. Like it goes back to activate legal regulation. It goes back to activate. It goes back to activate legal regulation configuration and find what is the legal regulation that is activated or assigned to country US, right? Country US. Get it? It get the legal regulation. Let us say here it found legal regulation LEG US. It come across the LEG US. Then what happens in the step 6? The step 6, once it find it, so let us say we are in embargo screening, right? Then it goes to control settings of embargo, and then whatever the control settings LEG US legal, it's not there, but let us say PPL US. So let us say it determine the legal regulation. PPL US is the legal regulation that is assigned to the US. Then it go back to the control settings. It goes back to the control settings of that application area. Not here. It goes back to the control settings of that application area, individual application area. So let us say SPL screening. Goes back to the control settings of SPL application area and look for whatever the control settings defined for PPL US. One second. Okay, it goes back to the control settings of SPL screening and then select the legal regulation that is determined as part of the process and then goes to the control settings, and here whatever the control settings we defined here, like whether the deletion indicator whether the system need to put the deletion indicator or not, or include the master records flagged for deletion or not, like this, it takes into consideration of all these screening controls and complete the screening process. Get it? So finally, why it is doing all these things? Because we are defining for each and every application area in the GTS module, we are defining the control settings at the legal regulation level. And on the other side, the legal regulations are activated to the countries or country groups in different ways. But since there is a possibility that system can come across multiple legal regulations as part of the screening, and it also doesn't look good to perform the screening at all legal regulations level, we are restricting or filtering that screening to a fewer legal regulations or one legal regulation by using this determination procedure. Okay, if I go back to so by assigning that procedure and in turn, which in turn has a strategy that will help to restrict the screening process to one legal regulation control settings or fewer legal regulation control settings. Okay, and then it comes to find out and look for control settings that are defined for the given or for the determined legal regulation. Clear? Any doubts?
Sir, it is clear. I have one sincere request from all of us. This particular recording, like I know it takes 2 hours after the class, but is it possible to send it today itself? The reason is like this will give us, see, while it's still
Sure,
fresh in
Ravi.
our mind,
I understood. I agree with you. I'll
yeah,
send it right away.
because see, these steps 1 to 6 is excellent. But what's important is once again, see, right from the time we create a product, I mean, we push it from, we create the document from feeder to GTS system. Each steps you've spelt out well here.
Okay,
And
sure,
we
Ravi. I'll
want,
do that.
tomorrow, today evening and tomorrow morning, once again, before the class, if we go through, I mean, at least for me or most of us here, this is very important because uh, even at work, all this we should be getting it into our mind as and when we are working. So that's the thing.
Okay, sure, Raghu. Okay, so
Thank
this
you,
is
sir.
how it happens and the importance of screening procedure. Okay, let me go back to our license determination screening. If I go back to license legal control, right? So the first step is assign the determination procedure to determine active legal regulations. So this procedure is configured in the legal general settings of legal regulation config and we assign here. Okay. And then second, this is a right? So the actual activation of legal regulation, the configuration is activation of legal regulations, activation of legal regulations. As you know that actual activation of legal regulations can happen, activation of legal regulation can happen in the general settings, but what additional things we do? We define, in addition to that, we define like whether this activation, the activation of legal regulation to the countries or country groups or country to country, for the import purpose or export purpose. If it is export, whether we need to include the domestic or exclude the domestic transactions. If it is import, export, include the domestic or export the domestic. That's what we specify. So the actual activation of the legal regulation to the countries happens in the general settings. But in addition to that, so you have an additional configuration to tell. So whether it is like legal control you are doing for license, you are performing the license determination for import purpose or export purpose. If it is export, like if it is import, how you want to exclude the import or include the import. Uh, in a next level, you can specify basically. So whether you wanted to exclude the domestic transactions or include the domestic transaction, that's the primary thing. What you can specify here. Okay. Or you can say like import exclusively, and you can say like here export exclusively. That means it is relevant for both imports and exports as well. And you can say, if you say that, for example, um, exclude domestic, so this is for export but exclude the domestic transactions are not required, only perform license determination process for the export transactions. So like this you can specify it. Okay, this is the second configuration. And the third configuration is define determination procedure to automatically determine the license type. This is the one of the important. So let me give the background. So if you go back to our previous discussion, if you go back and look at the previous discussion, license determination. So what we are doing? So we are doing something called license. There is something called LDS. LDS, license determination strategy, in the GTS license determination procedure, GTS legal control legal control import and export. Okay, this one. So since you have an option to define the license determination strategy in the GTS cockpit or GTS area menu, let me show you that one as well. Okay, if I go to the GTS area menu, when we try to maintain license determination strategy, this is right, maintain determination strategy. So what we are doing here, or you can go to the display determination strategy first. Display the strategies that are determined. So what we are using here as part of license determination strategies, so we are using different parameters. So in one case we are using country as a parameter. In other case we are using the classification code as a parameter. And other time we are using that grouping as a parameter. Okay. So like this you are using different control parameters, different parameters, not the control parameters. You are using different parameters, different elements. So now whatever the elements that are required for your business, that are required for our license determination, whatever the elements, whatever the key parameters, or whatever the elements that are required for our license determination strategy maintenance, those parameters we define under this procedure. So this is called define determination procedure to automatically determine the license type. So what we here, we define a procedure and assign the strategy. So what we assign, you can tell, okay, as part of this determination procedure, you need okay, country and control class. Generally we don't put this many, we can put, but we can put, but we don't recommend to put all. But even if you put all, what happens? First it will give an option to maintain this level, and then this level, and then this level, and then this level, and then this one. So basically by using license determination procedure configuration, what we do, we define all the we define all the key parameters, all the key fields that are to be used, all the key fields are the key parameters that are to be used as part of your license determination strategy. In other words, whatever the key parameters are the key fields you need to maintain the license determination strategy, those fields you define under this determination procedure configuration, and each procedure can have different elements. And once you define this procedure, what you do, if I go back to the license determination strategy, when you try to maintain, what is the key field?
Legal regulation.
So because of that reason, whatever the procedure you configure here, did you assign anywhere here or just defining here? We are just defining, right? We are just defining whatever the procedures we need. We are defining these procedures here, but we don't have any linking. We don't have any option here to link your procedure to the legal regulations, right? That is what we do under the control settings for the legal control. So here what happens as part of this configuration. So at your legal, when you are defining the control settings, for your legal regulation, then what you do, you assign the procedure whatever you define in the previous call. You see here, license determination procedure. So whatever, let me select something else. So here we can select it. So whatever the procedure we define in there, you can select it. So once you select this procedure, what happens? Can I get the change access? Is it opened by me? I think I only opened somewhere. Let me close it and open it back. Someone else open? SPRO. SAP GTS. Compliance management. Legal control. Control settings for legal control. So here I can select whatever the determination procedure. I can select the determination procedure. I can assign the determination procedure here, so that what happens, for example, so country 1, right? This is the procedure. If I go back to the procedure, one more time. So this one, right? If I go here, so what are the fields I defined here? Country and control class. So if I go back to the license determination strategy, if I go to the license determination strategy, so what is the legal regulation? Did I close it? So here if I go to the compliance management, control settings, so if I go here, so this legal regulation is having the determination process CTRY1, which in turn has, these are the fields. If I go and try to maintain license determination strategy, unable to determine legal regulation.
The legal regulation is ZLET or something. Okay.
Did I not copy it well or like? Oh, sorry. So GLEGR, that's correct. Okay. So if I go and try to maintain, numbering scheme could be determined. Okay. It's some configuration is missing. So let me go back to the SPRO. So general settings, and then legal numbering scheme, right? Numbering scheme. Assign numbering scheme to the legal regulation. So what is our legal regulation? We are looking control.
ZLET.
You see here. Okay, let me go to the new entries. Select legal regulation. G.
LEGZR. Yeah.
Sorry, this one. And then specify valid from assign YU Then save it. So if I go back, now numbering scheme could be determine the legal regulation GLEGGR.
The date is
No, here we have to maintain here, okay? So numbering schemes, assign numbering scheme for the legal control. Okay, here. So select it, LEG are valid from export control classification codes, export control classification codes. Save it. No data could be selected.
because of the key date there, Venkat. I'm not sure. 1810.
Not the key date. Only go back to the. Let me go to the configuration. Close the general settings. Compliance management. Legal control. Let me go to the configuration one more time. So CTRY is the procedure. Then we are using let me do one thing. I found other way. We go to the GTS area menu. Legal control export display. So let us take the legal regulation EAR and let me show you the repeat. So now what I'm doing, I'm going back to control settings. EAR, right? Export administration regulations. What is the procedure assigned here? CTRY1. Okay. So now if I go and try to maintain, EAR at the EAR legal regulation. So now you tell me what are the parameters it is looking for. So what are the parameters it is looking like? What is the parameters what are the parameters available to maintain?
Country.
Country and legal regulation, right? Country and legal regulation and also control code. So basically legal regulation is by default. I'll play with the system so that you'll understand. Okay. Now in the current configuration, it is taken into consideration of country and control code. Is that what is available in the strategy of procedure assigned to this legal regulation? So this is the procedure assigned, right? License determination procedure assigned, right? If I go to that configuration, compliance management, legal controls, define determination procedure. So this is right. This is one. What is the strategy here? Country control class. So now I'm changing this to under this procedure. I'm changing to only country. Okay. So if I try and going back and maintaining strategy, license determination strategy. Now what is available?
Only country.
Only country. Why? Because the strategy, the procedure that is assigned to the legal regulation EAR is having the strategy telling maintain license determination strategy only based on country, right? So if I go and change this to like control class, like only code. So now if I try and maintain license determination strategy one more time, on what basis I can maintain? I can maintain legal regulations by default, and then code I can select, and then I can specify what is the license type it is look for. So now this time only control code, the classification code. So if I change to like something else, so maybe country, control class, control group kind of thing. Now it shows total four parameters for me, 4 fields or 4 elements for me to maintain the license determination strategy. You see, like country, this is default country, control group, and the classification code. By using these 3 parameters, I can specify what license type it has to look for. This is how the license determination procedure what we configure will help to maintain the license determination procedure what we define will help to maintain different elements, different control parameters, different parameters as part of the license determination strategy. Any questions?
Venkat, what is the difference between control class and control group?
Control group is different code actually. Like if you want to control multiple products, basically like then you can use that control group concept. But whereas control class is individual code level.
Oh, okay. So control class is the same as control code.
Yes, control class is same as control code or standardized code or classification code.
Right. Whereas control group is a group of control codes. Is that what you're saying?
Kind of.
Okay.
Sir, so that acronyms IVCL, IL, VL, these are all where we will get, or is there any source for that?
Business will tell.
Okay.
Business
You
will
are
provide
asking
that
for the full form,
license.
right? Ready?
No, what is the source for that determining the IVCL, IL? So is it based on the country? Each country will define that license type, or it's a group of countries will define the license types?
That is normally provided by the.
Wait, Raghu, 1 minute. No. So you are maintaining here, right?
Here it is coming automatic, right?
That automatically.
That
so
is
that
coming
license type
because
except IVL, IVL, IVLP.
No, this
this
is
list is
serial
coming.
combination.
Whatever that I will discuss tomorrow. Whatever the license types you define for your legal regulation. You are asking this question, right? How these license types?
Yes, that how that IVL, IVLP, that nomenclature is coming.
No. You are telling how they are appearing here or like what it is?
No. What is the basis of determining that IVLP, IVL? Who will give that one? That acronyms.
Business will tell you. But the list
and also to come there, we need to define somewhere again in different place. Right?
in the control settings. So here, whatever the license types,
Oh, okay.
you maintain the combination of, if you go to the EAR, how many it has? 4, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
4 will be automatically appear as part of your license
Oh,
determination
okay.
strategy, and you can select like this. If my country is this, if my code is this, if my control group is this, and if my legal regulation is this, okay, you can tell this is the license type record. This is the license type record system need to look for, and then apply selection. I'll tell you later like this.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay.
Or Venkat, is it correct to say that IVL individual is only one parameter, or
Uh,
is it wrong?
I didn't understand your
So
point.
what I'm saying is the difference between IVL and CVL, one is individual, the other is combination, right?
No, it's license type, kind of type of license. It's there's nothing with GTS doing like it's type of category. What category of license? Like I will explain it in the next class.
Okay.
Tomorrow class I will explain more.
Okay.
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 Is it Venkat, like for all the countries that came now, these 4 licenses are required, right? IVL, IPL, for all the countries that came now in the maintenance of that license
No,
type.
no, like this is the license determination strategy. So what we are telling, if my custom transaction legal regulation is EAR, if my custom transaction country is NL, okay, and then if my classification code is like it is blank, right? It doesn't look. It only look for these two, and then look for license record of license type IVR based on this strategy. Based on this strategy, if my custom transaction legal regulation is ER and the country is NL, and the product code, if the product in the custom transaction code is assigned with 1A001 and grouping is control grouping is ER, then it will look for license record of IVR. Like this, we define the strategies here. There are many scenarios, right? For all the possibilities we define here, if the strategy itself is missing, it cannot do anything. If any of the parameter is missing in the transaction, it will not do anything. Like that. Basically, ultimately using the license determination strategy, it has to come to the conclusion what license type record I have to look for, I have to search. And then once it find the license determination license type, it look for the record, record is available, it will assign, else it will block the transaction.
Venkat, why is it not possible to have a range of control classes in one line? Otherwise, for each and every control code, you're going to have to define, right?
That's yeah, I agree with you, but uh, if you give the range, it doesn't make sense because you think that all the range require the same license? No, right? Each code require each license.
Yes, but if you are going to do individual control code, that means if a third party gives you 100, say 300 codes in a download, you're going to have to do 300 different configurations, no? Because
No. You don't configure like the huge number. You don't do. They already provided load here. They put in XML.
Hmm.
Okay, you upload it directly in 1 minute. Just upload it. That's why they gave this transaction. Load determination strategies using the XML file.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm going to stop here. I will
Okay.
continue tomorrow. We'll
All right.
finish it, rest of configuration settings, master data. If time permits, we'll continue to practical session as well. Okay, take care. Bye.
Thanks.
At what
Bugaro,
time?
we need the
Recording
recording.
last Saturday and today.
Sure. I'll send it by 5 o'clock.
Thank you.
For
Thank you.
sure.
Both of them. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Both.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Bye,
Venkat, the
everyone.
class
Thank you.
tomorrow is at 11:30 or
11 o'clock.
11? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.